Alright, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Crypto Wolf back again, and I apologize for the last video here. At least the last time it looked like this video, because fucking Windows got me again, man. Changed the microphone settings on me. Did me and didn't even notice till after I just happened to watch it, like right after I uploaded it. I'm like, let's see if the audio's still, the way I think it's supposed to generally sound. Not that it's all that great, but yeah, there was none at all. So, all right. So I guess we're redoing it. Here we are over here on the weekly chart. I don't even remember where I started off last time, but I remember what I talked about. So we're going to talk about it again. It's probably going to be a little bit quicker than last time anyway. So over here, weekly, looking at it, what do we got? So we got this yellow box right here. Matter of fact, we're just going to hide Market Cipher for a quick second. Yellow box right here, golden pocket off of the bear market. Not terribly important right now. What we do have here, though, is we've got this red little rectangle down here. This guy is the golden pocket off of the trend-based Fibonacci. I didn't actually mean to click on that. No, son of a bitch. Trend-based Fib extension. And that's off of the bear market. And so why the hell would I want to have that just hanging out there in space in the ugly area where we don't want the price to go? Well, I don't know. Maybe I do. But basically, we're kind of getting into uncharted territory. And so now that we're coming down here, we broke the previous low. And I'm just kind of curious, like, all right, if we do keep going to the downside, what are some potential areas to keep an eye out for? So that's what that's all about. Now, the important ones that I was talking about in the previous attempt at this damn video are these purple dashed lines. And you can kind of see from up here on the weekly chart where they're coming from. So this first one was the bottom of that pattern, this little channel that we had going. Doesn't look like much on the weekly chart, but it's there. So that was the bottom of that. This guy right here was essentially an attempt at somewhat, trying to have a breakout prediction level, if you will. And if we jump down a little bit, it's kind of interesting. Even here on the daily, we can see for that day, we actually came right down to the bottom, that previous low. And then after that, this might even be like too far down, but we did end up bumping down a little bit. And if you don't remember the white dashed lines, if you got to turn the resolution up to see some of the detail, believe me, I got to do it with everybody else's video too. But the white dashed line are just simple support resistance levels. And I'll explain these blue lines here in a minute. But yeah, we still generally did have a little support resistance, let alone the fact that we're just kind of bouncing right around that line. So, I mean, given the fact that it was not ever anything super precise, it gave me a good area to look at. And actually deleted the lines in the last video, but I did actually have a short over here. I think it was like, where the hell? Oh, actually, no, yeah, it was back here. So I actually had a short from like over here, got stopped out with that nasty ass little kind of retest up here of this golden pocket. Re-entered it pretty much in the same spot. Rode that bad boy down, kind of ignored it. Just kind of let it go for about a day. Because I was like, you know what, we're just going to let it slide as a swing trade. And I think it was, might have been like right in here where I closed. I honestly don't remember at this point, but it was pretty decent. It was like 5% plus, whatever the leverage was. I think it was 5x or something like that. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, not a hell of a lot since then. We did have a little bit of a bounce back up, but we barely even made it above, our little purple line there. So, okay, so these blue lines, what's that all about? I'm going to have to jump back up here a little bit. These guys are actually stretching out from quite a ways back. And what I was trying to do, It's still not really very good. Okay, so I was looking at this and I'm like, all right, you know, what other, because we're kind of in uncharted territory down here. We really don't have anything in the way of trend lines to come off of. We got the spider lines, but that's a different story. I'll turn those back on here in a second. But I'm like, you know, if I just started making some lines going across some of these swing lows down here from the previous market, where does it end up? Just out of, you know, curiosity. And it was kind of interesting because, I mean, this guy literally came right down precisely to that line and hit. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Always nice when that happens. And then this guy eventually came down and basically got stopped, found support right around where that blue line is. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess they're staying on the chart then. So they're staying on the chart then. You know, if you start, and it's interesting how you can do that. I mean, you can go back crazy far. You know, you can come back all the way over here and start swinging lines out same way you do spider lines, and you'd be amazed how many times things tend to follow these like ley lines. So it's quite interesting indeed. Now, these support resistance lines over here, this first one is just kind of, you know, coming off of this little dip right there from the beginning of the bull market. And of course we have the previous high over here. You know, gotta have that. These two lines plus there's some correlation with this golden pocket over here came off of this little fixed volume. If you don't know, fixed range volume profile. And this actually is not the same. Or did I draw this last time? I don't think I went back that far. I think I only went to like here. Yeah. So yeah, just off of like the previous bear market plus, you know, the very baby beginning of the bull market before we really started pumping. And you can see where, you know, we have a little bit of a shelf right here. So I kind of threw a line at the top, threw a line at the bottom. Generally how I found it to work out quite well. You know, rather than picking the high spot, you know, you pick your kind of top and bottom area of like a little range more than an actual like specific level. And then point of control lines up pretty much perfect with the bottom of this golden, I'm going to call it the red pocket over here. The top kind of actually lines up with some of these swing highs. So, you know, we're having some confluence, some correlation going on between various different indicators and signs. So speaking of indicators, let's bring out the heavyweight, bring Market Cipher back up, show you what's going on. Over here on the daily, it's kind of interesting because even since I made that last video, money flow took a little bit of a bounce. It took a little bit of a bounce. It's coming back up in the green. We'll see. Maybe there's some potential yummy goodness going on there. VWAP, pretty much at the zero line right now. So we'll see if that guy can swing back over the top. So it might be in for some green candles. Could be a bit of a nice week. You know, a lot of craziness going on, crypto space world in general. But, you know, if we're looking strictly at the charts, it actually looks pretty decent, like pretty decent little setup for I mean, shit, you could even start talking about like a week long swing trade even. But we got, and again, not financial advice, not saying, I'm just interpreting the charts. This is what I see, what I'm thinking. I'm not telling you to do anything. Honestly, if anything, don't trade at all. Don't do shit. There, that's my financial advice. Don't do anything. Because can't blame me either way. But looking at this, we got a 15 on the bullish side, on the DBSI, small wee little green candle up here. But again, down here, you know, momentum starting to potentially roll back up. You know, RSI is not quite to the bottom yet, but you know, we could kind of hope for you know, a little arc back to the upside. And again, this is just the daily. We're going to keep looking at it, see what it looks like in other areas. But again, money flow is super low. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. You know, regardless of everything else, the money flow is low. Because you come over here on the 2-day, and it's still coming down. Now we have a little bit more delayed action on the VWAP as we had on the regular 1-day chart. RSI is still technically coming down, but potentially rolling the bottom. 3 days still in the red, but you know, obviously higher than this low down here. Similar situation on the 5-day. Now momentum has continued down. VWAP continuing down. RSI is still down, but again, it's a 5-day, so it takes quite a while to actually see change very much on these higher charts. And then you look at the weekly, still deep in the red. Granted, we just had 2 giant red candles, so I wouldn't really expect to see anything else. But now this monthly one can oftentimes put things into a little bit of perspective. It's easy to get caught up on the day-to-day, hour-to-hour, shit, minute-to-minute, whatever. But you come over here and you look at the monthly chart. You know, VWAP, yeah, it's heading up. It's kind of rounding out to the side a little bit. You know, obviously momentum's still low. Money flow's absolutely trending downward, which I don't really expect that to change very much just yet. And at this point, you know, if we were to see it dip into the red, you know, say it's going to be ugly, it's going to be pandemonium, and everybody on YouTube and Twitter and everything's going to be going nuts. Now, on the 4-hour, is where it starts getting a little interesting. Obviously, money flow is atrocious. Now, potentially rounding out the bottom. Potentially. Still too early to tell. You know, it seemed like that may have been the case back here. Obviously, it wasn't. But, you know, we are having a bit of an uptrend. You know, matches what we're seeing down here. So it's not divergent. You know, VWAP. Bit of an uptrend, but could potentially see this start coming back down. If that's the case, it'll probably break back down, do something like that. So keep an eye out for that. 3-hour, you know, we can already see money flow coming back up a little bit right there. 2-hour. Now you start getting into the other thing that I was noticing. Start getting into this with this RSI. So even though it does look like it's turning back up, it's heading back to the upside, things are generally kind of trending upward. It is very weak to the upside, just like we had right here. You know, as this was slowly going, it barely climbed up at all. Super weak before it ran out of gas, came back down. And it's kind of looking very similar right here. Especially, I mean, there's still a lot of room. You know, still plenty of room up here. And we've already made it, you know, past the 60 on that RSI, but we shall see. You know, we got our little triangle popping up. VWAP starting to clip over. We'll see what the momentum wave does, but it's still kind of low energy at the moment. Now, this one can be a bit encouraging. You know, over here on the 1-hour, RSI stuck together like glue, headed for the roof. You know, money flow, it's in the red, but it's not necessarily going down, but it's not really going up either. You know, 1-hour chart, it is nighttime. It's probably going to be, see what happens in, what do we got? 2-3 hours. 30-minute. Start zooming in a little more. Do have money flow crossover. On the downside, though, you know, we had close RSI as we were coming back up. Interestingly, we had it on the way down too, but now we're starting to get a split as it's going up. Looks like momentum potentially clipping. VWAP looks like probably cross back to the downside after it's been on the upside for quite a while too. So it's strong chance that VWAP comes back to the downside. So it's really going to depend on what the money flow does. You know, if it can stay in the green and hang out, you know, even if these guys do some squirrely stuff, could still see the price go up a little bit here in the short term. 15. Again, yeah, not great for the bullish case. You know, weakness as it goes up. And over here, we had weakness as it came down after this little bit. So it's generally just kind of weak overall at the moment. Yep, 12-minute. Yeah, money flow increasing. Price is kind of steadily climbing up a little bit. But again, big spread. Not overly confident. I mean, it looks like technically we have, oh, that was terrible. Technically we have the weest little bit of divergence, bearish divergence. So let's see what happens there. But that's kind of what I've had going on with all my little scribblings on the chart here. Let's see. Oh, look at that. It's amazing what happens when I don't run my mouth. This video is like 10 minutes shorter than the last one already. So throw on the spider lines. Let's get rid of some of these too. All right. So we are right at a spider line right now. Crossed over a little bit, but yeah, even anywhere around it tends to be a focal point. So that's interesting. So come up on the 1 hour. What do we got? Got a pretty big gap. If I had to guess, if I went digging around, there's probably a spider line somewhere like right in the middle here, I imagine. But you know, we got our current one. Got a couple coming up. I figure the next one would be around 14.7. The other one right around 14. So if we do continue to go to the downside a little bit, you know, 15.8, then of course we got to see, you know, break the previous low there. But after that, yeah, matter of fact, hit that. Look at that. Actually, one of the support resistance lines lines up perfectly with the spider line even. And we got some more, we got some levels either way we go. But yeah, for the moment, I'm always looking out for divergences. And I like, technically, if it continues to play out the way it is, you could say that we may have bullish divergence on the weekly. Now that could be a very, very, very bullish signal. And obviously it's gonna take a minute to play out if it does. Because I know a lot of people, you see some bullish divergence going on the weekly or the daily, and you know, you jump all in on the next little uptrend. and it doesn't pan out the way you thought it was, and you're, ah, crap. And then you kind of walk away for a minute. And then next thing you know, a day or two later, then you get the real pump. So just be cautious of that. But keep in mind it may be coming. It may be. Despite how much I would like to get cheaper prices. You know, there's some potential hope in the charts, even if there may not be as much potential hope in the world. But that's where we're at with that. So, I don't know if you're still watching. Hey, real quick, let me know. Two things. First, go down in the comments. Let me know, what have you been doing to improve yourself lately? What have you been doing to motivate yourself? If you're not doing either of those things, get the fuck up off your ass. Start bettering yourself. Start finding some motivation. You know, it's hard to do this without swearing too much more. Just stop being a wimp. Fact of the matter is, dude, life's not getting any easier, and it's not going to get any easier. And if you are not working your ass off right now to try to do better, to try to make more money, to try to become stronger, to try to become smarter, then I hate to say it, but dude, it's going to get rough. It's going to get rough on you. And you'll have nobody to blame but yourself. Because at this point, we know it's coming. We can see it's coming. Everybody's talking about it's coming. It's no friggin' surprise. So if you don't plan accordingly, you know, don't complain. Don't go begging for government handouts. You know, start busting your butt now. But second question is, would you guys like to see an actual, like, video of me in the corner rather than the little cyber wolf down there? Because I had to get the webcam for something, and I haven't actually used it for any of the video stuff, and I'm not super thrilled about just putting my face on the internet and all that stuff, just for obvious reasons. But I don't know, if enough people say, like, yeah, dude, you should do it, yeah, blah, 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 I don't know, I might do it. We'll see. But let me know. Otherwise, my bad for the last video being complete and utter, well, I guess it wasn't complete and utter silence. There was some background music, but my bad for just being random scrolling around on the chart without any talking whatsoever. So, all right, I'll be back in the next couple days or so. I don't know, staying super busy, working on a bunch of projects, working out every single day. It's getting cold out though, which means we're going to be inside more. So I will try to keep making more videos. And I was also working on trading view pine script type thing. Where did it go? Okay, for whatever reason, it's not coming up right now, but I'll probably make another video on that one as well. And hope y'all have a good week, good day, good night, good morning, good trading, good living, good loving. I'm going to stop. Otherwise, we're just going to start rattling shit off. I'll see you later.